What's been on your mind lately?
So I was thinking the other day. What's the most important skill you can have that you can take into any job? The one skill you can have that you can take into anything and it will help, right? Because if you're good with computers, that's great for a lot of jobs, but it's not necessarily every job or every part of life. Like if you go to a bar and you try and make some friends, being good at computers isn't really going to help.
Nah.
But if you're good at talking to people and you go to a bar and you want to make some friends, obviously, then that really does help.
Yeah, that's the first thing that sprung to my mind was like communication with like people.
But if you want to be
Interacting
good,
with people.
if you want to work for an IT company and you're good at talking to people, surely that's never going to be a disadvantage.
No.
Because you're still at some point, even if you're mostly working on a computer and you don't talk to people, at some point you're probably going to have to talk to people, or it will make your life easier if you can talk to people and you can learn from people. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, I think you can take talking to like good at talking with people anywhere, really, can't you? You can take it anywhere.
So I was thinking, like, how do you get, like, is that surely the best skill to get better at? So then I was thinking, how good am I at it already? I don't think I'm very good at it at the moment, and I don't think I've ever had a natural talent for it.
No, neither. I think it's definitely something that I've got to learn. It's not something that comes naturally to me. Even if I'm like interacting with the delivery drivers at work or something, you know, I have to like think things to say. It doesn't like just come naturally. I don't, you know, I'm like, oh, you're right, mate. How you doing? Yeah, good, whatever. And then it's like after that, it's like, fuck. Like, we've talked about this before. I think a massive downfall of like, for me, about like things to say is the football culture in the UK. I like everyone knows it, everyone watches it, whatever. And because I don't, and you don't either, do you? It's like, fuck. That is the first thing that people go to when you want to start a conversation with someone you don't know. It's like, oh, what team do you support then? And then you got to hit them with a, I don't watch football, man. They're like, what? You don't watch football? I'm like, no.
Especially it's in certain jobs, it's like everyone talks about football. If you work in a construction job, if you work in a warehouse, to be fair, if you work anywhere, people are into, like, it seems to be that
most
one thing that people can all kind of bond with in the UK is football.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's both something me and you don't really. I mean, I love playing football. I really enjoy it.
Me too.
But when it comes to the politics of whose team does what and who's been transferred where, I never know. I don't have time to keep up.
No,
I don't really care.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah. So that can make it.
Yeah, I just thought that's an example of like I find that I see, especially, people trying to start a conversation with me. That seems to be what they go to is like football a lot of the time. I've experienced that quite a lot. Other than that, like, I don't know, man. It's we said last podcast, didn't we? We said that we were gonna get better at. We were gonna speak to people with conviction, look them in the eyes, don't look away, don't finish your sentences with what do you say?
Trailing off your
Trailing
sentences.
off, so like throw them away. You
Did we say it in the podcast? Did we? Oh, we don't think we did, did we?
If we didn't,
we said it at the pub. We definitely said it at the pub. I think it was mostly the pub we said all this stuff.
If we didn't, then we'll run over it quickly now. We said that we were gonna test ourselves from whenever we said we were.
So we were in the pub about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, something like that, just discussing shit, and we decided that, right, over the next few weeks, till we do our next podcast, which is today, we were going to actually try and get better at talking to people and get better at socialising.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, we need to speak to people clearly, with conviction. And one of the things that I find I do all the fucking time that really annoys me is I trail off my sentences. So rather than delivering a sentence, like boom, 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 looking them in the eyes, at the end of the sentence I kind of like throw it away, like, oh yeah, it was nice to see you, like that, rather than going, yeah, it was nice to see you.
I find for throwing it off for me, I'll go at the end of my sentence. I'll go or whatever,
Yeah, and then it like
and then it almost shows like I might not know what I'm talking about, which is probably most of the case anyway.
I think it's do you know what I think it is? I think it's a defense mechanism for to not solidify your opinions or what you're saying.
100%. It's also like a defense mechanism saying like, it's almost like confidence isn't there. You're like going, oh, you know, I think this, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, you know, like I don't have enough confidence to stick to my belief or whatever I was talking about, you know. If I'm telling a fact, for example, if I'm talking about like cows like jazz music, right? You know that?
I did not know.
You didn't know that. Cows really like jazz music.
Oh, right.
Sidetrack. Yeah, if you pull up in your whip, play jazz music, like the cows will run over to you, right? And anyway, I said this in work. Everyone looked at me crazy. It was like, what the fuck are you on about? Blah, blah. I feel it's a bad example, really, because I think I held it down more here. Because I was like, nah. I was like, yeah, bro, cows love jazz music. I was like, look it up. I was like, I'm not chatting shit. And they were like, don't know about that one, Dan. And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, look, I'll look it up. Looked it up. Yeah, they specifically like jazz music, and I think it comes from the deep tones of the bass, and it's like very like, you know, you got the high like trump whatever, and you got the low like bass guitar. I think that's what they're attracted to.
Maybe it sounds similar to a noise they make or something.
Possibly, yeah, or maybe it's some sound they don't really hear in the wild very much. They're like, yo, what's that? And they run over like. Anyway, it's a bad example because I held it down more then than I have done with other things. But yeah, I'd be like, oh, cows like jazz music. And then this isn't what I've done, but this is imagining me in a situation. If I was to repeat it again with less confidence, I would have been like, oh yeah, no, I've heard it somewhere. Or maybe it's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? I would throw it away. Without staying my ground and being like,
even if you're pretty confident in what you're saying, you still kind of
throw it away because it's almost like nervous to be like,
to be wrong,
show your real character and be like, no, they do, like, fuck's sake, like, you know. But yeah, no, I need to agree. The same with you. I need to get better at trying to not throw away what I'm talking about. You know.
Yeah, because it just makes. I think if you really direct what you're saying and not throw it away and put that statement like clear, it just has such a different. It's so much of a different impact to the person you're talking to, and to make take you more seriously and be like, oh, okay, and actually listen to you sometimes, which I think's good, especially if you need them. If you need them to.
Eye contact, I think, plays a massive role in that. Like, if you're staring at someone, you're almost forcing them to reply to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're almost like giving you that. You've got to reply to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm staring at you. You can't just leave me on red because I'm literally looking at you, waiting for your response. Whereas if you're talking to someone doing something, whatever, and you throw away something or you say whatever, and you continue doing something, that person then has the option to like just not reply to you or you know, whatever. Or
Do you know the thing that I've learned a bit about eye contact, and I feel like constant eye contact is actually not necessarily a good thing sometimes. It depends on the situation. I think if you're talking to someone, you want to have a good interaction with them, and you want them to take you seriously, but also not make them feel kind of awkward and like intimidated. You need to kind of have a bit of a balance of eye contact.
You can't. At
one point you'll be talking to them like this, and then as you kind of like, the best example is like if you're talking to someone, and then you're kind of like thinking about something, you kind of do that.
Yeah.
And then come back to it, and it gives them a little break from the eye contact. Because if you're literally like there, and we're both like staring at each other's eyes, it feels a bit weird.
It can feel super awkward.
And it's
especially, you can really read a lot through someone's eyes.
Yeah.
Like you really can read a lot.
It gets a bit much, doesn't it?
There's a very noticeable difference between like staring at someone because you're actually intrigued, not realizing it, and then someone staring at you and you can almost see that they're trying to stare at you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you was to talk to me staring at me without looking away, I don't think I would, and you was doing it unknowingly, I don't think I'd pick up on it that much. But if you was staring at me and you knowingly was like, right, I'm gonna try to stare at this guy now, and like eye contact, I'd be like, because you can almost read their eyes. You can almost read. I'd be like, yo, why is this guy? Like, why is he staring at me like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's weird. You pick up things.
You
right?
get almost a like they're kind of aggressive to. I feel like someone's being aggressive to me if they're staring at me straight in the eyes.
It's intimidating, but it's also what you use when you're trying to attract someone, right? If you're speaking to a girl, you almost want not intimidate them. Kind of, but you almost wanna. It's confidence, right? You almost want to. Yeah,
it's a weird battle, isn't it?
It's weird. You kind of want to. I've been in situations where I've been talking to someone and I've kept eye contact, and I almost feel something like I'm more powerful than them. You know what I'm saying? You almost feel it, especially when you talk to maybe you talk to people that aren't so.
It's a power play. It's why nervous people look away all the time.
Yeah,
and they're sort of viewed as.
If I talk to someone that's maybe, I don't know, let's just say a bit nerdy or stereotypical, bit nerdy or something, maybe not too confident, that I can sense I'm more confident than them. Not that I'm particularly overly confident, but because they're so not confident, I automatically feel like I'm the most confident guy ever talking to them, right? Because you almost have nothing to prove, because you can sense that they are clearly less confident than you are, so you're like, instantly that nervousness goes out the window because you're like overpowering them, so you can hold eye contact with them longer. Right?
Yeah.
Like it almost comes way naturally, especially speaking as well. I can speak to a quiet dude easy as fuck. It comes to me like that. Like, you know, there's a guy that I work with and he's quite quiet, and I can just speak to him like easy because I've got nothing.
You feel ease around them.
Yeah.
You don't feel like they're ever gonna
prove.
Sort of.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's like I don't stutter, I don't stumble about things I want to say. I'm not nervous about things I want to say. Almost because maybe I know they're not gonna come back with like a crazy, like, I'm hearing mad noises. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Dude.
Almost like, maybe I know they're not gonna come back with like, they're not gonna oppose my opinion because they're not. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You don't feel any intimidation from them.
No.
Because of their awkwardness. You know they're not going to come back and be like, look you in the eyes and be like, no, you're wrong. You know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So
because they're already started the conversation like, I'm quiet.
Yeah.
Like, not looking at you, and you know that there's no point are they going to suddenly like go, no, I don't agree with that. You're talking absolute shit. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you have that confidence to just be like, say what you want kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone is the complete opposite to that and they're looking at you like dead in the eyes and they're kind of leading the conversation, you are not gonna be as confident in what you're saying, because in the worry that they're gonna disagree with it and openly or get angry, or you know when you have I don't like it when you have like people who are very, very chatty, very eye contact and all that, and quite emotionally unstable. That scares me. That scares the hell out of me. I hate those I don't hate those kind of people, but I don't like talking to them that as much.
Because they're scary, bro.
I don't know what to say to them because I'm like,
on?
they lead the conversation for a start. They're not showing any sign of intimidation, and if they're emotionally unstable on top of that, that's just you're walking on eggshells with them.
Yeah.
So there's that level of confidence that isn't good. But I feel like, I mean, this is going to be a whole other topic, but I feel like we can go into it. Like emotional stability, I think that really affects how you socialise as well.
Completely.
People don't want to talk to someone who's emotionally unstable because it's kind of scary and you feel like at any moment they could just change.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you're almost like...
so I think you want to be emotionally
Yeah, you're-
stable yourself.
Yeah,
In order to
because
be...
you don't want to chat to with yourself. You don't want to speak, and you don't want to let your emotions take over. If someone says an opinion, you don't want to jump down your throat and be like, "Nah, what? You think that? Oh, you're unbelievable!" Like blah blah
You
blah.
can become blind to everything,
Yeah,
don't you?
you come completely blind. You follow a narrative. Whereas if you can, if you have control of your opinions, you'd be like, "Oh, you think that? Why do you think that? You know, why? What? You know?"
You learn.
Yeah, and you learn from it.
This is why the news is so good at making people think a certain way, because what they do is they're very clever. They play on the emotions of people, and I think what they've done with people is they've deliberately tried to make people quite emotional.
Yeah.
And then when you've got emotional people, if you then tell them an emotional argument, that's it. That's it. That's the only opinion they're going to have.
Yeah.
They are not going to read in any further.
No.
They're going to go, okay,
I don't like this.
I'm
about
emotionally
someone.
affected by this. I'm going to have that opinion.
Yeah. Full stop.
And it just becomes impossible for them to hear another side of you.
Literally, I listen to. I hate using my real life fucking examples, but like everyone I work with, nicest people ever, right? Whatever. Me and my manager, we listen to podcasts, right? Nearly every day. While we're working, because we're like around computers, so we got a speaker and we blare out the speaker. There's this girl I work with. She comes out occasionally, and she's quite left wing, and she's lovely girl. But like a few times she's come out and gone, "Oh, is that Trump?" or something. We've listened to like maybe a Joe Rogan where Trump's on or something, or another podcast, or Elon. Oh, is that Elon? Well, yeah. Not. We listen to
Elon
everyone.
was
Do you know what I mean? If there was, we listen to podcasts about even people we disagree with, people we don't like. We listen to podcasts with because
I listened to a podcast
you've
with a
gotta
guy
hear-
who was like super left wing and like
Yeah.
had been like let his wife sleep with other men and all this.
Yeah.
I still listen to the
Yeah,
podcast.
of course, because you got to learn.
Because it was interesting, and it was
it's
actually a good
intriguing.
podcast. It was really interesting to listen to.
There you go. So
And I listened to opinions that I was like, oh, I don't know about
Yeah.
that. But like, I still sat there and listened to it. I listened to a whole hour of this fucking podcast.
Yeah.
It's gone, Chris Williamson's. It was really interesting.
Yeah, so, like, and this is very minor, like what she said. I didn't fucking jump down her throat, whatever. Anyway, but she was like, oh, is this Elon or something? I was like, oh yeah, do you not like him? And he was like, no, he's this, he's that. I can't believe you listen to him. And I went, hold on. Well, I can't remember what she said, I can't believe you listen to him. Anyway, she made a insinuation. She was like, oh, you're listening to him. You know what I mean? I was like, just because I'm listening to him doesn't mean I agree with what he's saying. Do you know what I'm saying? That just because I'm listening to it doesn't mean maybe I'll listen to the news. Does it mean I fucking agree with everything the news is telling me? Definitely fucking not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I watch the news all the time.
Yeah, like
Great.
the news lies to you fucking more than half the
You
time.
sit there
you know?
going, bullshit.
Bullshit. Cap. Like, no, but yeah, she had an opinion on it. She wasn't gonna let anything change that. And she kind of like walked off, whatever. I let it slide. It doesn't matter. It wasn't that deep for me to get into it. But then it just made me think, like, that's emotions. Like, that's
It's
your
amazing,
opinion on
isn't it?
something.
Yeah.
Coming out thinking, oh, fuck it, that's Elon.
But you're
Fucking
so
hate that guy.
easily manipulated as well, because
Yeah.
if we went back 4 years, okay, she'd be saying the complete. If she's
Yeah.
left wing, and she's influenced by the news, she'd be saying the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Because Elon was praised in the news. He was this new eco-friendly dude who's making all these electric cars and like, trying
amazing.
to like do things
Do away
for the
with
environment,
fuel
and all the
and,
left
like-
wing loved him. And I think he supported Biden 4 years ago. And suddenly, he's the same guy. He's still making the
Yeah.
cars. He's still doing whatever. Obviously, he's got some different opinions now on things. He's learned some different stuff, and he's gone a different
He's
way on certain
rescuing people
things.
from space, which isn't talked about. Do you know what I mean?
And it's like the news has absolutely gone in on him
Hard
so
on him.
hard.
So
and everyone's
hard.
and well, I don't get it because I still like, is everyone gonna fall for this shit? And they do
Yeah.
every fucking time.
But this is why you can't.
amazing.
It's such a narrative, like because of the situation with Elon at the moment, things like him saving that group of people that were stuck in space for like however whatever.
Yeah, I've heard very little about that. I think I was only on
That
Joe Rogan
hasn't-
I heard about that.
Yeah, that hasn't been covered anywhere. Where's that? Where's the news saying, oh my god, Elon, these people have been stuck in space for months. Elon's came out with his new technology and his new rocket ship and he was able to fly up there, save them, bring them back down safely. Nah, none of that.
It's amazing.
Nah, they're all talking about in beef and Trump now. Do you know what I mean? When it fits their narrative, oh, Elon's switching sides. It's like, oh, we better speak about it now. You know what I mean? Or
It's been
Elon
all
doing the
over the
fucking
news.
salute or whatever he did.
It's
like,
just the news loves that petty shit, doesn't
they
it?
love it, bro.
Like they don't care. I think this is why. Okay, we've gone completely off topic, but that's what we do on this
Yeah.
podcast. We go off trail. Recently, I've become completely obsessed with Everest, and I don't really know. Like the last week, I've just been watching loads of shit about Everest. And do you know what it is I quite like about it? It's none of this petty drama bullshit. That's what I've noticed. Like it's all just like. It's just not that. Then when you hear news about Everest, it's not because some guy had an argument with a Sherpa on Everest, is it?
No.
It's like
no.
this person nearly died. Like they literally could not breathe because they're up high. They've got no oxygen.
Yeah.
Like, it's freezing. Like there's something quite nice about all the petty shit goes out the window. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
It's just
It's-
hard, isn't it? Is that the thing? Is that what happens with hard stuff though? When you do hard stuff?
You just don't care about. This is
Yeah.
why I like sometimes when I go for a run, nothing just matters. All these little petty things doesn't matter because
You're in the moment.
in the
you're
run,
focusing on that thing.
I'm struggling with the run. Nothing else. Everything else just doesn't seem important.
I'm gonna butcher this, but I was
Go for
watching
Here we go.
here we go. I was watching. I'm gonna try to simplify this as well because I don't want to overcomplicate it. Try to say what Huberman said and then butcher it. Anyway, he was speaking to David
Goggins. I knew it was me, Goggins. Yeah, go on.
and he was talking about a part of the brain that when you do hard shit, that part of the brain grows, and it's
ACC or
specifically.
whatever it's called. What was it? Is that the AMC or the ACC?
Don't ask me.
Okay, fine.
Don't know.
Something
Part of
like
the brain. That's my protein shake alarm.
Is it actually?
Yeah, and I
Right.
picked that alarm because it sounds like you're going like filling yourself up like.
Yeah. Okay.
Part of the brain that grows when you do hard shit, and it's very small in like obese people, and it's very small in people that just find comfort in everything.
Yeah, they find it's very. Yeah, they do find it smaller in obese
It's
people.
very small in obese people. Anyway, this part of the brain that gets bigger when you do hard shit is connected to a part of the brain that motivates you. I think he was saying. So like the more you do hard shit, it's connected to the part that's gonna be able to make you get up and do things and be more
It grows,
spontaneous
yeah.
and whatever.
The one someone says we're
Right.
going to do this thing, it's hard to do. You go, okay,
Fine.
let's do it.
Let's
And
do
you
it.
just don't have, you don't have that block comes in of like, oh no, and then you can override it quite easily.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like when your brain goes, donuts, you go, no.
No.
Yeah. It's called the AMCC.
AMCC.
Yeah, I thought it was
There
something
you
like
go. AMCC. And
or the anterior mid-cingulate cortex.
there you go. I wasn't gonna try to say that. But yeah, that I think we'll need a bigger one of them.
Mate, I need to get my
Yeah,
AMCC
one, do you know what I'm
wham.
saying?
Yeah.
Why not get it jacked?
I wonder how big mine is at the moment.
I
Not big
think-
enough.
Not big enough,
No.
but I think we are probably on the bigger side.
Yeah.
On the bigger side. Yeah.
I mean, probably every time you go gym, we've probably
mean-
we've probably grown it from going to the gym.
yeah, For sure. On the days you don't want to do.
And you know what? I feel like I know mine has got bigger because I find it easier now to do harder things than when I was a kid.
For sure.
I remember when I first started the gym, it was this is hard. And then I really I grew in more when I first started the gym. I sort of loved the idea of the results and stuff. And then I found that I loved the gym just as it is, and that's what keeps you going.
I spoke about this in work as well. It was so my mum takes sweeteners in her coffee, right? And I was speaking to my manager, and we was both speaking to her, and we were saying, look, you've got to trick your brain to think that you like tea or coffee without sugar. You've got to believe it. You've got to drink it and be like, I like this. It's exactly what I did with black coffee. Do I like the taste of black coffee with no sugar and just straight bitterness? Not initially, but the thought of I'm drinking fucking black coffee, no sugar, no milk, black coffee, I'm a fucking gangster. The thought of that overrides me not liking the taste, because all of a sudden I like the fucking taste because I'm sipping it. It can taste like shit, but I'm like, yeah, I'm drinking black coffee.
So you can learn how to like
it because of the, So I now like black coffee. Someone gives me black coffee, I'll drink that shit.
I was talking to someone about this the other day with sparkling water, and they thought I was crazy, right? I said how what I've started doing recently is when I want something that's a bit more the water, I just get sparkling water, and that does it. And they're like, how? I said, honestly, I can drink a bottle of sparkling water. I can drink a bottle of sparkling water, and if I think it almost feels the same as Coke to me. It almost tastes the same as Coke. Like if I really think it in my head, I'm drinking Coke, and I drink sparkling water. It's it kind of is the same.
It's the same.
It's not really, but it's almost enough for me to go. Well, I don't have to have a Coke because I've satisfied
that craving.
It's really nice. I love sparkling water. It's great.
I haven't had sparkling water in a very, very long time.
You're not a fan though, are you?
Well, that's what I mean. I haven't had it in a very, very long time. So I don't
try
think
it and try and trick your brain.
But I need to retry it. I mean, I haven't drank it in I don't know fucking how long. Last time I tried it was probably little. I feel like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? I need to try it again.
Yeah.
But if I go now, I'm gonna go into it with that thought process, because now you've said that, I'm gonna sip it and be like, yeah, do you know what? It's not far off Coke, minus the sweetness. Like Coke is hella sweet. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's honestly you can kind of feel it. It's weird. But yeah, what was this whole podcast about? It was about getting better at socialising.
Yeah.
How has it gone trying to be better at talking to people with more conviction? Do you feel like it's still
not good,
an ongoing process?
Not good, still an ongoing process. I tried to keep up the first day. Thing is, your natural instincts overrule, completely. You'll say something, try to say it with conviction. You'll say it with conviction. The guy then replies. Then you try again, say it with conviction. Then he replies, and then maybe you forget, or maybe you and maybe the reply you give. Yeah, reply you give is back to default, and then you're like, fuck, I fucked that one up. Now I look like an idiot, and then you're back to neutral. You're back to start again.
Again, this is like training your brain, though, isn't it? Like the same thing with the AMCC.
Yeah.
And training your brain to think a certain way. I think it's the same thing when it comes to socialising. The more I guess you try and do it, you eventually starts to become normal, and your brain starts to mould to okay, this is how I do it now.
Yeah.
But that's quite hard to do. I feel like it's going to take a long time, and it takes people years sometimes to get better at talking, years and years. When I look back,
it don't happen overnight.
Yeah, if I think 15 years ago, oh my god, it's completely different to how I am now. Completely different. So, I could barely talk to anyone, other than close family and friends. If I tried to speak to someone new, it was oh my god. Sweating, nervous. As soon as I became a teenager, it just became really fucking hard to talk to people, and I don't really. It was just overnight. Suddenly, I just couldn't talk to people anymore, especially new people. And then, now, it's not even been that long since I've kind of got better at it, and I can actually do it, and I have to do it as part of my job.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm too bad at it now. I'm not awful. I could still be better, and there's certain situations where I'm really, really good, and then as soon as I'm into an uncomfortable scenario, I just bottle it. But then 10 more years of getting better and improving and like exposure therapy, where am I going to be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Surely
yeah.
it's going to be in a much better position than what I'm in now.
I think it also comes with age. I
Yeah.
think the older you get, the less you give a shit. I
Yeah.
definitely, for sure, in school and college and stuff, I can speak to anyone. Like, I was really shit speaking. And then as I got a little bit older, 18, 19, 20, I just started to learn that, like, it's not that deep. And, you know, I can definitely speak to people easier than I could. But it's not at this level that I want to be at. Like, you know, I want to be, I want to be able to speak to people a lot better than I do. Also, I think another option, if you struggle, like, about if you struggle to say the right thing or whatever, I think just be a good listener. Like, if you get eye contact down, so this person's talking to you and you can look at them and show you're interested in what they're saying, rather than looking away and like being all nervous or whatever, that can go a long way. And letting the other person speak, and only speaking when you need to answer, rather than like trying to find a reply to give to them about something they've said and you're trying to give an opinion back or something. Fuck all that. Maybe just nod and be like, yeah.
It's the best advice I've ever got for socialising, I think. And it's like the most simple, most easy thing that you can tell anyone and they can actually do it, is just ask questions. Like, if you don't know what, like, you don't know, no one really knows what to say.
Facts,
just ask
bro.
questions.
Facts.
You don't even have to, like, you don't have to come up with anything clever. You don't have to say anything interesting. If you just talk to someone, just ask. If you don't know what to say, just ask them questions, and then just go from there. And then they'll say stuff that you'll think, oh, I've got another question about this.
I do that, and I haven't realised I do that. And
So easy.
I've just realised I do that, and that's what I do when I want to speak to someone that I don't know what the fuck to say. I ask them questions.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
The best example I've ever, maybe it's the job I do, because that's kind of like one of the biggest part of the jobs is asking loads of questions. But I was working with this girl who's like she's quite high level sort of, she's like next paramedic but next level paramedic, and she was I noticed she was doing it with me, like the first time we worked together. She was endlessly asking, oh, you okay, what? And then I'd answer and she'd have a new question and she just like kept going with it. I was like, she's really good at talking to people. And I said, she just keeps asking questions, that's all she's doing, and it's like conversation is flowing and it makes so much sense. And then when we got to like patients, he just did exactly the same thing. Just asked loads of questions and like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And like ask more things. And I was like, that is just such a good example of how easy it can be. You don't even need to be super interesting. You don't have to say anything clever. You just ask them things, and it just makes people just end up liking you, because you're like, especially girls. I feel like if you're trying to talk to girls, like ask them questions. It just, because they like talking about themselves.
I was just about to say that. I think it's almost baked into ourselves that we do like talking about ourselves. Maybe not to a point where,
if you're someone who doesn't really speak to anyone, and then suddenly someone comes in and goes like, is interested in like
how many
what you're saying.
It's like,
you got? Oh my God, this person's interested.
Yeah. Just little things. You kind of want to speak about yourself. I think it's kind of just baked into us.
And you can kind of open people up so easy. Like, you can end up having full-on conversations about something that maybe they'd usually be a little bit nervous talking about, like if it's a hobby or something.
Yeah.
And they're a bit like, oh, don't usually like just opening with your hobbies. And then you can really just get them chilled out, and then they're just like telling you loads of stuff about their hobby, and then they're like, because they're passionate about it, they're able to speak really easily. Before you know it, they're feeling relaxed, and then just makes life so much easier.
I think you don't necessarily need to find a topic to talk. Like, there's not a magical topic that you can talk about to anyone with and it's gonna set you off, but like you just talk about random shit, like ask them random questions. That's why we said a few times, aren't we, that when we get in a car with someone or we meet someone new, we're gonna just ask the craziest questions, but not like a weird way. Not like, yo, this guy, I try to be friends with that guy. That guy's weird as fuck, bro. I met him for the first time and he's asking me what what do you think about the moon landing or some shit?
This is the thing. I said like, oh, let's just do it straight up, and I've realised
Yeah.
maybe that's not the way to
It's
do
probably not the way. No, you probably people
funny,
will look at you like, yeah,
but-
this guy's nuts.
Maybe
But
ask
yeah.
them loads of questions first, wear them down, then go
If
into
you
the
want to talk about some
conspiracies.
deep shit,
Yeah.
maybe ask them. Yeah, another question. You want to talk about some deep shit? They're like, yo, what do you mean some deep shit?
What do you think of this? And then just
Yeah.
keep going until it gets like to like silly levels.
Yeah.
And that's when it's fun.
That's when it's fun and you've made a friend. Like, it's like next time you see each other, you're gonna be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've something I've been thinking about recently. I feel like I've lost aura. I feel like I've lost massive aura, bro. Do you know what I mean?
How do you get aura? I don't understand. I feel like you
I don't
just.
know. I just feel like I've lost aura, bro. I just don't think I'm. I don't know. I'm not as like confident as I used to be. I feel like I've lost confidence.
I
don't
think
know
it
what
depends on the
is.
setting. Maybe you need to be in the right setting to get
I
that.
think maybe, but I just feel like I've got no aura. You know.
Yeah.
But maybe it's me and I'm just judging myself all the time. You know.
Mm.
I'm just like constantly criticizing yourself. You know.
I think maybe because you're at home as well. I feel like when we went away, it was a bit different. I feel like we both
Yeah.
had aura, and that we'd never had before. Because I don't feel like I. have
But
it
there's
usually.
this almost like. It's almost this voice that I have. I feel like I change the way I speak sometimes. And I don't want to change the way I speak, but it comes completely naturally. I think it sets in when I'm nervous. And I speak like I don't know anything about anything. And I like brings us back to like what we were talking about, what the podcast started off with. About, like not speaking like conviction and like whatever. Yeah, there's this voice that kicks in when I'm nervous, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to start a conversation. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'm trying. Yeah, there's this the way I talk, and I notice it. I notice it set in, and I try to get rid of it so bad, and it just sticks.
Mhm.
And I don't know what to do about it. It just like. I'm trying to overcome it. It's probably the main thing I think about every single day.
Is it when you're talking to different people? So like
Yeah.
when you're talking to me, obviously it's just you're just talking how you talk.
Naturally, yeah.
Like very much comfortable with
Yeah.
the way you're talking. And then when you're talking to someone new,
I think it's when I talk to people that I know more than me.
yeah.
Maybe people are quite smart, and I'm talking to them and I know they know more than me, so therefore I kind of like sink into this like self that's like I'm like nervous to say shit because it's completely come back round to like everything we've talked about right now, like in this podcast again. But yeah, this is something like I've been dealing with. I feel like I think about it a lot of times in the day, and I really try to not let myself be overpowered by like someone that I know knows more than me. You know? I feel like I really try to do that every day, and so far I've been not successful. Like there's no I haven't gotten, you know, because I fall into it all the time. And then once you fall into it, I think we've spoken about this before as well. When you first meet someone, that's your chance to plant a personality, and that's the way that person's going to look at you forever. If you first meet someone and you're stuttering and you're saying something wrong, maybe you get a really easy answer to a question wrong or something. I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. Someone says, "What's 1 + 1?" You say, "Oh, 3." I mean 2. Do you know what I mean? Then forever. That was
You
the
feel
first
like
meeting.
You feel like you can never.
You can never change that. You can
retain
never
it.
come back.
Yeah,
from
you can
that.
never come back.
They're forever that set in their mind. Like, you can't.
But is that true? That's the question.
Is that true?
Is that true? Are they always going to think about it, or can you actually?
I guess you can grow out of it. I guess.
Or
you
can they go?
like-
Oh, do you know what? This person's really like grown as a like. Can they see you and see you grow?
Yeah.
I've had the same
Probably.
thing. I'll tell you what. Tonight,
Hmm.
I'm going to try and be way more confident than I usually am
Hmm.
at work, because I'm all right, but I'm not as confident as like how I am right now is not how I always am at work. I sometimes feel a bit intimidated, especially when I'm having to talk to like doctors and shit, I'm like,
Yeah.
let's get scared. But last night I was having like a full-on conversation with a proper ED doctor, and at first I was a bit like, oh, and then I managed to like get into the swing of things with the conversation, and me and him were like having a proper actually a good conversation, and it felt like, oh, we feel like we're on the same level here. I don't feel intimidated. Tonight I'm going to try and do my best to do that.
I think it comes a lot with who you're speaking to as well, and how comfortable they make you feel. Because if you're
this is the thing I've said about eye contact. Is sometimes you want to make someone feel more comfortable to have a good conversation with them.
Also, for me, it's rudeness. If someone speaks to me rude, I can almost...
It pisses you off.
Yeah, and I can almost... if someone speaks to me like they don't give a fuck that I'm there, my brain almost tricks myself into thinking they're better than me or smarter than me.
Yeah, mine does that.
Because they just don't care about how someone feels. They don't care about my feelings towards them. So it's almost like my brain tells myself, right, this guy is above me, when they're not completely. They're just being a dick. They could just be being a dickhead, and that's it.
And it's not until you come away from that situation and you go, no, they were just a fucking knobhead. Why?
Knobhead.
Yeah, why did I give them the time of day?
And why was I nervous to say certain things? I had a thing where I worked at a garden place for like a week or two, and this guy was just, I look back at it now, and I used to think he was okay, and I used to think he was just quite to the point. I ended up leaving that place, asked him if he wanted me to come back, and he basically just said no. And I was like, oh, I kind of laughed initially. I was like, thinking he was joking, and he didn't say anything else. I was like, oh, kind of went, oh, okay, and I walked off, and that was it. And I look back now, and I think, in the moment I was overthinking, I was thinking, did I do something, did I do that? Looking back now, he was just an absolute knobhead.
Just cocked.
And I was tricking myself for his absolute dickheadness. I was thinking he was just knew more than me, or he was in a whatever. But no, looking back now, he's just an absolute waste man. And I wish I said something. I really wish I said something. I really wish I said, why can't I come back? And I guarantee he wouldn't have an answer. He wouldn't have an answer because I gave 100% in that week of work. I gave 110%, and I know I did. And he was just an absolute arsehole.
Yeah.
And he was using, I think he was using people for quick work. He just wanted to get him in, get the job done, bye-bye. Like, he didn't want anyone permanent. And he's advertising work as if he wanted someone permanent, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, and like, even like that, like, yeah, I thought I was lesser than him. I wasn't lesser than him. He was just an absolute knobhead.
The truth is, there's actually no one that's truly above you, really, in everything. Like, you can always find something that either you've done that they haven't, or that you're better at that they're not better at. So, like, you can, like, so many things. Like, for example, we can ice climb. He can't ice climb. Yeah. Probably. Yeah, I very much doubt he can ice climb.
No, definitely could not.
Do you mean?
No, looking at him though.
That's what I'm going to start thinking now, because what percentage of the world do you reckon has actually done ice climbing? It's such a niche thing, isn't it?
Yeah, not a big.
So we can just walk through life and go like, there's no one above me because no one else has ice climbed, other than the people that have actually. Yeah. Like we were pretty good at it, I think, as well. So we're good at ice climbing. Now, how many people can say that?
Yeah. Not many.
Basically, everyone's a bitch compared to us.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll draw confidence from that.
Yeah, draw confidence from things that you can do or you've done that you know no one's.
It doesn't even have to be relevant.
No.
Just can be just anything.
I can do this, I can do that, so therefore I'm gonna, I've got confidence from that.
Yeah, just draw confidence from anywhere that you've done something you're good at, or that you've done something that people haven't done.
Here's one for you. You can't use that to a point where you look like that dickhead I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? Where you think you're better than it comes in full circle, do you know what I'm saying? True. Like, there's a point where it becomes too much and you're then that guy. Talking down on people all the time.
Yeah, this is the bell thing, isn't it? It's using it as a source of confidence to be a good person. To be a good person and be like confident. And I can do this. Okay, boom. And like talk to someone like nicely and don't feel inferior because you can ice climb, but don't feel superior because they can't ice climb.
Agreed.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, find the balance, I guess.
Find the balance. I think that's a good point to end it.
Yeah,
with. And you?
yeah, let's do that.